Come on, bitch, let's go. Come on, get ready, bitches. You haven't seen nothing yet. Come on.
Valentino, Versace, Lamborghini, Bugatti. I got money to burn. I'm single and I'm naughty.
Come on.
Tiffany's, Cartier, Gucci, Armani.
Come on.
Break out your black card, boys. It's time to party.
Well, I was booking my travel for my next leg of my historical trip with my son, John, in Europe. And Italy is our next stop. And I was shocked because the prices were so high. Flights were high. Hotels in certain areas were high. Even in France, in Paris, it was high. And I had to wonder if some of this wasn't to do with Jeff Bezos' wedding coming up this week. There were some people in local cities that are usual draws for billionaires that were excited that their money was coming to town and that they expected them to spend a lot of it in those areas. People stop off in Paris on the way to Venice. They go to Rome. And so there was some of that excitement for, an economic boost. But then there were a lot of locals that really didn't appreciate the magnitude of the disruption that Jeff Bezos' wedding caused on pricing and on logistics. And in fact, there were people that were putting effigies out in the Venice waters, locals, of look-alike Jeff Bezos, which weren't flattering, floating on Amazon boxes that looked like, I guess, coffins or something across the water. And they were releasing them. And they were also threatening to blow up crocodiles in the water to disrupt the views, other things like that. So, whenever a wealthy person comes in and tries to control a territory for their own self-gain, it doesn't end well. Take it from Marie Antoinette.
Let them eat cake.
So they were forced to change their venue very last minute, which must have put Lauren Sanchez in a tizzy. I kind of am enjoying that, though. I feel like she's so entitled for some reason. They moved their venue from Scuola, I'm going to do my best here on my Italian, Grande della Misericordia. Now, this is a venue that you can rent out for big events, and it overlooks the water, and it has a really old school Venice vibe. It can accommodate up to 1,000 people, and it has many different spaces that you can take over. So I'm assuming they took over the entire venue, and they were going to have probably different environments in each room and space for different parts of the event. Well, the locals said they were going to fill the waterway, which they were having their guests arrive by water, which obviously is part of the Venice experience. And they were going to fill that part up with blow up crocodiles and other things to block the boats so they couldn't get into the venue. This is what activists that didn't like this thing were going to do. So they had to change the venue in case the locals actually went through with it. And they moved the venue to a place called the Venetian Arsenal. Now, this is a less glamorous venue. It's shipyards and armories clustered together, but they can isolate it away from protesters trying to ruin the wedding. And it does have a very Venice look to it. It just looks a little bit more military. Not sure military is what I want for my wedding. The other space was very romantic, but, c'est la vie. Now, in this audio for the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to tell you all the details of Bezos' wedding before we get into the Kelly Dodd tea that you guys wanted me to cover. And I wanted to tell you that I recorded it in 2 different time periods in order to give you the most up-to-date information. So this first part is going to be a buildup of the wedding and some amazing deep dive tea I found out about Lauren Sanchez. And then we're going to go into what happened on, Friday and Saturday morning for the wedding, because the wedding goes all the way into Sunday. All right. So it's going to be an interesting way I cover it, because you're going to see the intel becoming more and more clear as the audio goes as to what we think is happening and how people are feeling about it, and then what actually happened. Now, all the famous guests that they have invited to this wedding are starting to show up. They started arriving on Tuesday and are trickling in for the big, multi-day bash. And allegedly, when it was all said and done, this wedding is going to cost $20 million. At first they downplayed it and they tried to have PR say that it was $1 million. And then it was, it's going to be over that, but we're not saying what. And now it looks like the final number is $20 million, which is pretty mind-blowing, $20 million on a wedding of 150 to 200 people. Just saying, figure out the math on that. On 150 people, that's 133,000 per guest. Let's hope all 200 people they reached out to and invited RSVP'd yes, so it could bring that number down. Although Katy Perry couldn't make it. Aww. And as you would expect, the Kardashians are doing press around this. They definitely posed for pictures, and they knew they were getting papped as they came on board. They wore outfits that you can tell they knew, right? So this might be part of it to draw attention to the wedding. Bezos and his wife, Lauren Sanchez, has also arrived at the time that I'm recording this part of today's show, which is Thursday, June 26th. She's been working out and losing weight like crazy. You can tell, really putting an effort in. She's like a size 0 at the moment. She's all boobs and nothing much else. But he's excited. He got on his private Venice boat with her. They were doing press too. They've done their best to kind of keep it private by putting up curtains and stuff like that. The thing about Venice as a selection, as I said in the past, is it's weird because Venice generally, the water smells in some periods of the summer. So I don't know if they're getting that smell or not. It's hit or miss. I don't actually know what causes it. But everybody's using this as a press op, which is really kind of gross. But I'm going to just leave that with you guys to comment. Now, Lauren knows that the people in town aren't thrilled with what's going on, so they incorporated having their guests donate to local Venetian charities on behalf of them as their wedding presents. They said they don't need gifts. I don't think they do need gifts. I mean, he does own Amazon after all. But they did say, hey, with your, 200-person billionaire wallets, can you give to these charities? Allegedly, the invite said, this magical place has gifted us unforgettable memories. Our hopes is that through these efforts and by you joining us, Venice will continue to inspire wonder for generations to come. So there are probably donations towards keeping landmarks alive and all this, which explains why the government officials in Venice were vying to get this wedding. They actually, like the Olympics, were trying to get this wedding to be there, which is interesting. But I imagine it has to do with this, having everyone donate thousands and thousands of dollars to these local heritage societies that are managing keeping Venice looking good. The invitations had cursive and they had scattered around the text blue, pink, and black drawings of birds, butterflies, feathers, dragonflies, and a couple of rowing gondoliers at the bottom with the Venetian theme. Hasn't anyone ever told them don't do a theme, especially for a wedding? Okay. All right. So this is who they wanted the donations to go to. Donations on your behalf are being made to the UNESCO Venice office to safeguard the city's irreplaceable cultural heritage, to Corilla to restore the vital lagoon habitats that protect Venice's future, and to Venice International University to support research and education for sustainable solutions. Now, the problem is some of the people weren't very impressed with the look and feel of the invite. It did feel like a little bit of a caricature of an invitation. The drawings, I'm sure, were done by somebody who has an emotional relationship to the couple, but they were kind of lackluster. Let's just call it what it is. When you're supposedly spending $20 million for a wedding, people expect a lot more. They could have really had fun with this aspect of things, and they didn't. The thing is, if you're going to be a billionaire and have the audacity to behave in such a ridiculous wealthy way, like let's just talk about what it is, right? Build a 100 million plus house that's a billionaire bunker, have planes and helicopters and own multiple properties and rent an entire tourist city out, which, is incredible, right? If you're going to do all of those things, don't try to downplay it with the invite and the donation side of things. Just own that your position is you have FU money and you're going to do those sorts of things. What it looks like to me is that Jeff Bezos threw around his FU money to create this over-the-top elaborate wedding and then realized the optics weren't great, and so then downplayed certain attributes of the wedding that he knew would be leaked to the public to kind of mitigate that approach. And people aren't morons. You know what I mean? They can kind of sniff shit out these days. And so when people saw this invitation along with the 20 million figure and all the other things the guy's doing, they were like, give me a break. What would have been better is him to say publicly, hey, this is my wedding day. I've made $100 billion. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I'm going to have a pony deliver the invite in a gold plaque that's solid gold that the guests can keep forever. I'm going to keep all the diamonds and everything else I get and decide what I want to do with them later. And if I so choose, maybe I'll do something nice for the town of Venice with it. Or I paid the town of Venice $500,000 straight up so that I could rent the place out, which for me helped the area. But this kind of playing it on both sides thing is not working for people. And that's it. That's the problem here. Choose a lane. You're either having a low-key wedding because you're a billionaire and you just don't want to disrupt things and you want to keep it private and not have anybody know and be super respectful to the local culture and not interrupt anything and have these beautiful little plain bullshit invitations that don't, that are green and have messages of donations and philanthropy on them. Or you want to have, Elton John flying in along with 8,000 other celebrities with paparazzi everywhere where you're promoting the shit out of it and you're absolutely over the top, especially when you have Elton John and Lady Gaga performing at your wedding and events, right? It's a lot. You're not kind of the humble pie you're trying to give off here. Now, the rumors around the wedding and what's kind of over the top is they allegedly have 28 distinct looks for the wedding events for Lauren Sanchez to wear. And her primary dress is being designed, the rumors are, by Dolce and Gabbana, also Oscar de la Renta, Roberto Cavalli, Versace, and Schiaparelli. Now, of course, Dolce & Gabbana have gotten involved with Sutton Strack at Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They have gotten involved with the Kardashians heavily and were featured on Kourtney Kardashian's spinoff to do with her wedding. So, this is not surprising. Dolce & Gabbana also were some of the party that tried to rally the Venice government in hosting and pitching this event. They were the coordinators. So it's not a surprise that Dolce & Gabbana allegedly is the styling team for Sanchez over these days. And the person in particular that's helping her is actually a drag queen tailor and supposedly hired a makeup artist that specializes on baby doll looks. And I don't know why she's going for a baby doll look, but there it is. Allegedly, the wedding cake was designed by a Parisian pastry chef and is described as one of the most extravagant cakes ever created. All the guests are going to receive thousands of dollars in local artifacts from the area that they paid to do special things for the wedding. So expect the guests to get bespoke Murano glassware and other things like that. These people are leaving with thousands. Now, if you're like, wow, this is too much, Dana, try to imagine that Sanchez also had an engagement party and a bachelorette party. The engagement party was in 2023 in Positano on Bezos' yacht in Italy. Bill Gates and Kris Jenner made it to that one. And then a bachelorette party that she had in Paris. And Kim Kardashian, Katy Perry, and Eva Longoria went to that one, and they even, as one of their events, had a cruise on the Seine River. Now, I was curious as to what Jeff Bezos and Sanchez has said about each other in terms of, their relationship, and there wasn't a lot said publicly. But what Bezos did say in an article to CNN in 2022 was that he saw Sanchez as the most generous, big-hearted person, and that she could connect with anyone, and that she always had a big smile, and she was always bringing people together. So obviously, what do I think? I think that she probably knows how to spend Jeff Bezos' money in a way that he likes, meaning parties and fun. Perhaps his previous wife was like, I don't want all that BS, And so he was like, what did I do all this money making for, right? I want to enjoy it now a little bit as I'm kind of at this age. So I think that's it. And she's probably positive and upbeat. Also, they seem to share some hobbies together, like flying. Sanchez flies helicopters and so does Bezos. And, she had a helicopter company that she had camera equipment on and would rent out to movie companies and things as a sidebar project. So I think he has a community connection to her with that. That's a big draw for a guy who's into planes, just saying. And then she said in an interview that what Bezos appreciated about her was her authenticity and resilience as a Mexican-American woman who was navigating challenges in her career and personal life. Now, in a few different interviews, Sanchez mentions what she likes about Jeff Bezos, which seems to overlap some of what he's said publicly, which is that Bezos has a big heart and is so generous. He makes her laugh every day. He's a dreamer who executes and is super intelligent. He also supports her endeavors that she dreams of doing, like writing books and her green fund and I guess other ventures that she wants to do. She's made it very clear that they're, quote, partners going forward on the business deals, that's for sure. And then the prenup dropped. So there's that. She also said that Bezos was an amazing dad and that they were a big old Brady bunch. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Let me know if you guys think this one's going to last or is this going to be the biggest divorce in history, even though they have an ironclad prenup. Amazon share price is going to drop on Monday. Who's going? Oprah Winfrey, Mick Jagger, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Leonardo DiCaprio with his girlfriend, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, who's Leo DiCaprio's best friend, Eva Longoria, Gayle King, Jewel, Kim Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Khloe Kardashian, and Tom Brady. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner also went, probably friends from Miami, and Bill Gates, Barry Diller, and Diane von Furstenberg, who actually lives in Venice, has one of her primary residences there, is all attending this event. I wonder now that Barry Diller has finally announced that he's gay and Diane von Furstenberg has been his lifelong beard, if he's going to bring a date. I mean, he should really go for it now, I feel like. Orlando Bloom is attending, but not going with Katy Perry because she's doing a tour right now. One thing I thought was interesting is that Lauren Sanchez's baby daddy is coming. This is not her previous husband, and bringing her kids with him. His name was Tony Gonzalez. He was born in 1976 in Torrance, California. He's an American football tight end. He worked for this team. He was with 12 seasons of the Kansas City Chiefs and 5 with the Atlanta Falcons. I think she met him as a news sportscaster when she was working for Fox way back when. They dated and were together during 1990 to the mid-2000s. They have two sons, Nico and Evan, and I think he's bringing those kids to the wedding. And then separately, her ex-husband, who she actually married, because the first guy, they were just, hanging out. Patrick Weitzel, he is, of course, the head of William Morris and Endeavor, which were two huge agencies that merged. Anyway, Patrick is heading out, I think, with his two kids with her. So we know that, at least the majority of Sanchez's four kids are going. But the question I have is, did Jeff Bezos' children come? Remember, there were rumors he was cheating on Mackenzie Scott when that all broke up. And I wonder if the kids are going to actually go to this wedding. He has four children. I couldn't find anything in the media about them attending. Crickets. By the way, her real name is Wendy Lorraine Sanchez. I don't know if you guys know that Lauren Sanchez is from Albuquerque, New Mexico. She has two siblings, Michael and Alina. Michael was a talent manager and publicist, and he had a close relationship with Lauren. But then something happened because allegedly he was involved in leaking text messages to the National Enquirer in 2019, if that's true. That showed that Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez were cheating while they were both still married. So they cheated on Patrick Weitzel and Mackenzie Scott. Remember, you guys, that could be a sign of like they were meant for each other and just couldn't deny it, or it's once a cheater, always a cheater, and somebody in this relationship will eventually cheat on the other. Now, who leaked these messages? There were some people who believed that it was government in Dubai that was trying to punish Jeff Bezos because of pulling funding out of the UAE. There were rumors that they were coordinating an effort to kind of punish him on this front. But then I guess Jeff Bezos hired a security team led by a consultant named Gavin D. Becker. And this consultant concluded that Michael Sanchez, Lauren's brother, was responsible for leaking the text messages to the National Enquirer for $200,000. Now, Lauren had shared these messages with her brother. And so, it did look like maybe he was the person who got bribed to give them over to the tabloid. There's other aspects of motivation that they think Michael might have done this to hurt Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. And who knows, maybe Michael also had ties to the UAE too. I don't know. But, her brother, interesting character on that front. Now, Michael said that he did not sell these text messages. And he said to the Wall Street Journal that he would never betray his sister. Now, he also sort of indicated that he had shared these messages with the Enquirer, but under the guise that he was trying to protect Lauren Sanchez's reputation. I don't know in what way, perhaps to prove that she was really dating Jeff Bezos, but apparently some money was exchanged hands. So I don't know. I don't totally buy that if you know the details. Now, there was gossip dropped in June of 2025, which has absolutely no basis in anything real. But what they allege was that Lauren Sanchez had admitted in a court document somewhere that her brother Michael had done some sort of incestuous, inappropriate behavior with her, maybe even the R word. And this is where the rift actually started between them, and that Lauren's mother was not going to be attending the wedding. And the gossip is that the mom didn't believe it was true, so she was pissed at Lauren for putting this out there to hurt Michael. So you guys have to scout out if you see Lauren Sanchez's mom in any pictures or reporting, because if the mom did go, then we know this gossip that was dropped on X that doesn't have anything, tied to anything verifiable, but is juicy AF, is true, right? Or not? Because I suppose if the mom goes, then we know that that wasn't true. And if the mom doesn't go, it's maybe something to consider or ponder from a gossip perspective. Lauren Sanchez is close to her sister Elena, so she'll probably go, but there hasn't been any announcement regarding her either. But they're really tight. So we'll probably see her with her sister in some photos. I would imagine they're going to control a release of family members of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez to the press in some way or another that's controlled. It would be highly unusual if they didn't. So I like to give you up to the minute, updates and gossip. gossip. So I jumped back on the show on Saturday morning to let you know some more updates on Jeff Bezos' wedding. So apparently everybody was staying at the Amen Hotel, which is very nice, but surprising that Cipriani didn't get this one. Kind of odd. They were all at that hotel. Okay, Jeff Bezos was seen looking super sharp for his actual wedding in a gorgeous tuxedo. And we also saw Lauren Sanchez dressed to the nines in terms of fashion leading up to the events. Like, she's really going for the Jackie O vibe on this. The entire thing was covered by numerous press outlets, and I can tell that Sanchez is definitely trying to catapult them into the public eye as like celebrities in their own right. It's pretty clear from her strategy with this wedding. Now, everybody went to this location called Madonna del Orto, and that is where they said their I do's. It's a very medieval location, and Botticello sang I Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis Presley. All the celebrities were dressed in the highest fashion. I did want to point out that Kris Jenner came with Corey Gamble, so they're definitely still an item if you were wondering. And everybody looked really great, and everyone who I said earlier on the show did show up. They had security guards going around on jet skis around the event, and it was like a pretty over-the-top extravaganza. So that's it. Now, I am not going to get a chance to report on what happens on Saturday, but I will include anything else that happens on my bonus audio on Tuesday for you guys to consider. And I'm going to post a few pictures from the wedding in the chat. If you haven't gone in there since Saturday, go up the feed and you'll see them. All right. Well, anyway, I'll leave that all for you guys to consider. You can see why I covered this today. I'm trying to give you a little bit more than, what's out there at the moment. So in the Dishing Drama Dana Patreon, there is a chat, and we drop gossip in there and discuss things as they're happening between shows. And a patron that I adore asked me a special request. She wrote the following: Hey Dana, do you think you will touch on all the things going on with Kelly Dodd? The leaked voicemail she left last August, and apparently she got into a domestic violence incident with her daughter Jolie, and the police were called. I think a knife was involved, and the neighbor's Ring camera footage caught it all. And I have stayed away from Kelly Dodd in terms of gossip because for the full scoop, join the Dishing Drama Dana Patreon. The link is in this audio description. It's only $6 a month, and you'll get the best information and tea about the things you care about, and even the things you don't know you care about. What are you waiting for?